That sun is rising from that lack.
That sun is rising from that lack of advantage, that lack of vision, the blindness to refuse itself for the repugnance. It's a repugnant sound for the announcement, for the mental challenges and chances, for the giving, for the fool, for the forgiving, for don't know how to laugh to give. What is it doing for that to be? The crucifixion of the way, the breaking, nothing for the rest of the peace and the vengeance and the vice grips of the balls of the Christ. Hips to the hypocrites and the critics and the criteria for the critiquing, the taking, and talking to play. Plagiarism for the conducting of the conditions. Condemning for the lust and industrious. For the illustrations, for the Illuminati, for the illumination, for the stagnation, for the progress, for the grotesque. Investing for the fight of like victims and the vindictive and the assets of sinners confined and self-sensitive. Syndication that you can find that dictate. The sacred heart to the audacious masquerade for the paying and the masking taping for the taping them around for the blind eyes to deceit for the considering out of the luck. Come to the commonplace like talking about embarrassing with the racing emblem for the demon for the demolitions with the gun shooting the first shot for the gun for the gumption for the unknown for the immaculate for the balance for the equators for the not for the eventualities for the shadows and hiding beneath that light. The delegation for the wrong literacy and terrorism tyrannical. Most important to be reprimanded for the spread and straggle. Bystander for the stagnant for the sake of the confidence for the fighting game was hidden for not giving the punishment the repetitive, the relative, the refused, the reluctant, the rehearsed. The intentional, the reoccurring. Taking an inventory for the storylines and never change to the hate that mandatory screen line. That narrative, too slow for the fast. Then to be the beast for the iron, not be the revelation for the revolving patience and the respiration taken of that patriarchy. For the evil act, for that story, for the interpretation of the adventures and the inhumane treatment, for that to be meant for the standing guy, for the beating and for conundrum. The mannequins and endemics of woe, fuck you, prevent nothing for the taking him to do with the send the insane way for the not to play for the rate, for the wrath, for the bitter taste of the fate. The prenatal for the mother, root, fatality, for the converting of the confidence and the confidentiality, for the infidel, for eternal life, for the intel, generate honesty, justification for the intelligence of the things. Jury not for the judging crime without the blood to drop. Every drop for the ending, for the rebuild for the grudge. Response to the responses, and the deviation and lead the topic for the conflict, for the textbook, for the narcissist with the years and necessity for the vengeance. Ego convincing. Convicts to hell with no fake halos, a circle for the hell fates the gates, and advantage for the secure, inside for the outlandish and outlaws, for the doubt, for the occurrence of the serenity, for the endeavoring with the mask. Peace to the wind for the noble act, for the taking for the lows of the left, and left out for the belief and no grief, and mischievous and enough for the behavior of the strong of the saving. Favor for the sword and for the sworn, and reprimanded for the victim for the circumstances. Even the spiral for those who know, for the whole holy talk, for the grits of the integrity for the lessons that you can know, for the common ever placing the fine eviction of a heaven, casting out demoralizing mobility even given. This is all for the structure, for the experience. It all happened too fast, too slow for the beauty. It was more than a beast, for the beauty inside, for the breast, for the food, for the nerves of the dude who tried to defeat the separating, for the there's no better, for the better, and the spirit, for the song, for the right, for the wrong, for the perception of the web was written, for the ancestors, the feeling, the past, and not the future, for the present, the growing as a man child, out of the sun for the tree, for the reed, feeling that we thought we had, we left, we gave for the person who gave us the feeling for the hug. All this is all for this, for the meaning, for this, it could be this skepticism, for the trust, corporations, the people, beginning and the ending, for the sequel, for the squirrel, for the nut, fearing, for the feeling, for the gut, changing into something, with the pointer, for the finger, don't blame me back, for the maturity, for the game wheels. On for those who don't, who offer the spirit. Material for the lamp, for the roller, for the circle. Hair, for the roller, for the conversation, for the total, the voters and the polls. North for the south, for the ears and the mouths, for the synonymous beating, for all of us in sight, for this done. We become and learn to love, not to fight, for the rights and wrongs. Musical flow for the subliminal, for the wrong. Train and tracks for these the same differences, the dope, or not, or whack. was those moments that was missed. It was those moments that was missed. It was those moments that was missed. For those, the reminiscence and these can be remaining inside of the right side of the way the philosopher will think before he comes to perspective. There's a place. I'm taking one sorrow to borrow, for that can't be swallowed. That sun is rising from that lack of advantage, that lack of vision, the blindness to refuse itself for the repugnance. It's a repugnant sound for the announcement, for the mental challenges and chances, for the forgiving, for the fool, for the forgiving, for don't know how not to give, but it's a doing for that to be. The crucifixion of the way, the breaking, nothing for the rest of the peace and the vengeance and the vice grips of the balls of the Christ, hips to the hypocrites and the critics and the criteria for the critiquing, for the taking, the talking, the play, plagiarism for the conducting of the conditions, condemning for the lust and industrious, for the illustrations, for the Illuminati, for the illumination, for the stagnation, for the progress, for the grotesque, infested and invested for the bite of like victims and the vindictive and the assets of sinners can find themselves sensitive. Syndication that you can find that dictate, sacred heart to the audacious masquerade for the paying and the masking taping for the taping them around for the blind eyes of deceit for the considering out of the luck. Come to the commonplace like talking about embarrassing for the racing and emblem for the demon for the demolitions for the gun shooting the first shot for the gun for the gumption for the unknown for the inaccurate for the balance for the equators for the not for the eventuallys for the shadows and hiding beneath that light. The allegation for the wrong literacy and terrorist and tyrannical. Most important to be reprimanded for the fragile bystander for the stagnant for the sacred for the confidence and the confiding in what's hidden for not giving the punishment intended. Consequences for the wicked, the idiocracy, the repetitive, the relative, the refute, the reluctant, the rehearsed. The intention of the reoccurring. Taking an inventory for the storylines and never change to the hate to that mandatory streamline. That narrative, too slow for the fast. Then to be the beast for the eye, not be the revelation for the revolving patience and the respiration taken of that patriarchy, for the evil act, for that story, for the interpretation of the adventures and the inhumane treatment, for that to be meant, for the standing out, for the beating in the conundrum. For mannequins and endemics of woe, fuck you for nothing, for the taking nothing with the one. The send to insinuate for this not be the play, for the rape, for the rap, for the bitter taste of the fate. The prenatal for the mother, brooding fatality, for the converting of the confidence and the confidentiality, for the infidel, for eternal life, for the intel, generate honesty, justification for the intelligence to convince. Jury not for the judge and crime without the budget drop. Every drop for the anything, for we broke for the grudge. Response for the responses, for the deviations and alleviate the topic for the conflict, for the textbook, for the narcissist with the years and assistance for the vengeance. Ego convincing. Convicts to hell with no fake halos, a circle where the hell fades the gates and advantage for the secure inside for the islanders and outlaws, for the doubt for the criminals, for the serenity for the endeavoring with the mass. Peace to the win for the noble act, for the taking for the lows and left out for the relief and no grief for mischievous and enough for the behavior of the strong with the savior. Favorite for the sword for the sworn and reprimanded for the bitter of the circumstances. Even the spiral for those who know for the whole holy talk for the rules of the integrity for the lessons that you know for the common ever placed in the fine eviction of a heaven, casting out the moralizing mobility even given. This is all for the structure, for the experience. It all happened too fast, too slow for the beauty. It was more than a beast, for the beauty inside, for the breast, for the food, for the nerves of the dude. You try to defeat the separating for the there's no better for the better in the spirit for the song for the right for the down for the perception of the word was written for the answers of the feeling the past and not the future for the present is the growing as a man child out of the sun for the tree for the breeze feeling that we thought we had we left we gave to the person who gave the feeling for the hope all this is all this for the meaning for this is the skepticism for the trust cooperation for people beginning and the ending for the sequel for the squirrel for the nut feeling for the gut changing into something the pointer for the finger to blame me back for the maturity for the game wheels on for those who don't walk for the spirit material for the length for the roller for the circle hair for the roller for the compensation for the toe for the voters and the poles north for the south for the ears and the mouth for the synonymous beauty for the all of us in sight for this done we come to time to learn to love not fight for the rights and wrongs musical flow for the subliminal for the wrong training tracks to these the same difference as the dope or not or whack and the pression for the giving the black one God one liberty and the justice individually and that have been gifted for but not to be chosen only for the year all God's children, for the trust in you, for the only the light, for this the dark, for the fiery spark, for the impatience of the clock that we have to breathe the nectar, inhale, like you are the thought, breathe like a tree, be a part of the seas, open your eyes to see, use your actions, your willpower, your consciousness, and you gotta be cognitive and put your action in the first foot, and never to be the last one, executing everything that you don't need to forfeit, what for what, this is the forbidden knowledge of the principles, esoteric, alchemized for the highly celestial, rectified. That sun is rising from that lack and vanish.